Oh, those are a sight. But I beat you. I beat you in 1.0. It's just... That's the other nice thing. You have no idea how refreshing it was to play a story in an MMO where you beat the final boss, but you fail the battle. I mean, that's got to have been a first in any online RPG status. Because you have this epic battle with the boss and you defeat him, but he had been too far along in his plans. Oh my god, I forgot. You can go all the way up there. But that's not where I'm going. I want to go down here. So, this Drybone? Yeah, Camp Drybone. Again, the camps were more simple. You know, little fence, 1 or 2 tents, there would be an acolyte, and there'd just be NPCs sat around and a couple of guards at the entrances and exits. That was pretty much about it. This would have been spider territory, I think. Yeah, I'm sure of it. But back when, before Job System 2.0, the shield was its own class, so as a gladiator I had to level both classes simultaneously, and when I realised that my shield was coming down, not leveling as fast as it should, I set up my tank with the most amount of defense I could find, a shield that had the highest block rate that I could find, but the lowest block percentage, and then I'd go and aggro about 4 or 5 of the spiders here and just put my shield up, and in that hope that, you know, all them mobs trying to twat me would get me skill points on my shield. Oh, can we go? Yeah. Can go in there if I wanted. That's not where I'm going. I'm hoping I can get to where I want to be before the sun goes down. Probably going to be best to go left. Yeah. Well, left on the map, right from my perspective. Trees. Always find this bizarre. What it was to what it is. But up here is a very interesting place that I probably have just given myself way too much of a time to be able to do an intro to. I mean, yeah, this is all interesting. We've kind of been in a canyon setting for quite a while. So, you have like a settlement for the baddies that was just over there. I think that's the one that you had to raid to be able to go in and do Ifrit. I'm sure it was something like that. But don't quote me, I could be wrong. I've slept a lot since. Yes, that was a lucky guess. So as you see, coming up to here, and judging by the map, you're probably looking at that and going, why is he going here? That just looks like a whole load of enclosed area, like the tunnels that you run through between zones. But it's not actually like that. It is quite different, and I can't think of a zone in 2.0 that quite looks or feels like this zone, because it's actually cavernous. All those little dots between there, they're all spots that you can actually see all the way down, and it is just such a nice visual change and such a nice flow to go from a canyon through to something like this. It really did blow my mind the first time that I copped sight of this. It was like, wow, okay, they may have copy-paste terrain, but they're trying to do interesting things with it, and I think that they did. What's going to be best? Probably going this way. And obviously all along here would have been mobs for you to be able to fight, and most of them were not aggro type ones. They was normally just straight passives, but you'd get the occasional one that would make you want to run away and stuff. What camp is this? Broken something. My excuse on not being able to read that stuff, I'm playing on a 43-inch TV that's 7 to 8 meters away, and you can't really do what you normally do. So, another camp that you should know. It's just coming up. But it's just such a strange design. It's like, I know for a fact I haven't been down here. The Red Labyrinth. It's one place I could never get past the mobs. However I tried it, I just couldn't. But I think that is probably going to be my target for today. But yeah, another little camp. When I first started playing Final Fantasy XIV, my instant parallel that I thought when I got to playing this game, because chat's just said, you know, the older version gives way more of a feel of a Final Fantasy game. And I do totally agree with that. In this version, I think you can see a lot of Final Fantasy XII influence in regards to the design of the zones, the scope. Let's get back a bit. It does feel more in line with Final Fantasy XII in regards to how it all works. I mean, even when you come back to that, it kind of reminds me again of 12. So where are we? Wrong way. So we want to cut across here. Well, this is gonna be difficult. I mean, I want to do a vid on each, a stream on each of the 3 city-states. Technically, I haven't completed this. What the blinking hell am I going to talk about? I mean, I'm trying to keep stuff that I talk about relative to the area that I'm in, so I'm only really trying to mention the other city-states in passing in regards to how they was done. But that's the other weird bit, is when you was outside Yadar, when people you could see the airship come and go. And where was it? Oh, I can't remember where they did it. The airships actually dropped off in maps as well. They had a route, so it would be like Yadar, somewhere on this map, somewhere in South Shroud, and then Grandia. So, and you could watch the airships take off from outside the city, which was just such a novel idea. They did want it to all sort of feel it's all connected, and the way that they saw that they could do that was by removing zones, as to say. But I know that you wouldn't see it was an optical illusion that they created in regards, because they set the time that the airship would take off, and it would probably just run an animation of a small airship on the local region to where you was of the airship taking off, but it all added to create that illusion of reality that it did kind of work. That when you was in the city, you could see everyone anywhere in the city if you can. Like in Luminasa, if you go to the Adventurers Guild and you turn round and you walk to the big open section and look down at the Athelite, you can see the crystal in 2.0, but in 1.23, if you look down at the crystal, you would see everybody who's near the crystal doing what they're doing. People running past the crystal, people sat down near the crystal doing synthing or doing repairs, NPCs with quest icons over their head. Why do I get the feeling this is going to be more tunnely? Do you like that red glow? What they were probably doing, they were probably just filling this place with big nasty things, I reckon. So you couldn't quite sneak through. But yeah, in normal 1.0, I would never have been able to get down to this location. I mean, collecting all the 12, going to all 12 altars of the temples for the religions, that was a nightmare. I had to, one particular place in the Shroud, I ended up having to try and get past level 75s. Ooh. What this be? This be anything? Okay, I'm going off the map. Okay. Well. Yep, that's a fishing spot. God, you'd have to be a brave fisherman to come all the way out here. This... I definitely think if they'd continued developing Final Fantasy XIV how it was, it wouldn't have the broad appeal that it has now. I mean, it's got its own... This thing's got its own little quirks and foibles, and it's running on code that's... See, copy-pasted. Same thing. But there's so many of them. And, well, that's kind of both the problem and the joy of it. The areas are large. They're interesting to poke in. You probably know what's down the end of each location you go to, but probably the mobs that were down there, or there'd be something worth it to go in that particular direction. Whilst all the maps in 2.0, it feels like they liked certain aesthetic elements of the maps, and then they just tried doing one of each of them just really well. It's the only way I can describe it. So Thanalan, Korthus, which is this entire area, it is the same location I'm running around in. There is the same sort of elements, but it doesn't have the same scope, I think. It's really difficult to describe, because like I say, I can remember like this camp here. That's where I leveled from level 42 through to 45 on my paladin. And I was in a party of 4. I was tank, we had healer and 2 DPS. 2 of the people were real life friends, which made it even awesome. And the 4th person was a member of the Link Shell. And I can remember I was there, and it would be the old-fashioned way of leveling in a party in a game, which is your party basically set up camp in a location, and you'd have a puller, and they'd run out, grab a mob, and as soon as they got close, I would then take the mob off them by using provoke and things like that, and then as was getting close to killing that mob, the puller would have to judge it, so they could then run back out, but not too early enough that they're outside the area that they can be to get the experience points, but get another mob coming in so he could just keep pumping up the XP chain, and you could get stupid amounts of percentage boost just by keeping the chains going. And that's the other thing, the big difference. I wonder if it shows it in here. No, not there. No, not there. No, it doesn't. Basically, in Final Fantasy XIV 2.0, you have a limit break. As the party progresses, this bar fills up through the dungeon, and once the bar gets up, party members can use said limit break. If a paladin uses it, then it's kind of a buff on defense. If a DPS uses it, does damage. If a healer does it, it does beneficial effects to the entire party. They didn't have that. What they had instead was, you know how you have in 14 2.0, you'd have like a weapon skill that then combos into another weapon skill that then combos into a third weapon skill. You'd have that system, but the weapon skills could chain with other weapons. So you could do a skill on the sword of, say, Rockblade, and someone could follow it up with Twin Snakes, say, and you'd get an effect. And then if someone then did another weapon skill, after the effect finished, you'd get a third effect, and you could chain these effects. So you could take a relatively high level monster down fairly quickly, providing you knew what elemental weakness, because that's the other thing that this game had, was monsters had weaknesses. So you had to plan your party based on what you're doing based on what it's weak to, because the Black Mage had access to all the elemental spells, and they wanted to make that useful. So everything had elemental weaknesses, and then you had the White Mage only had Banish, which was basically holy damage, which made them really good at sort of undead creatures. You did have the likes of Drain and Asper, which is the equivalent of Drain but for MP, and that was on the Black Mage. But again, these skills were not locked to a character. Heck, during my leveling on Gladiator, I think I had Drain and Asper equipped for a while, just so I could top up my health and top up my MP, because in 2.0 you have the spell Protect. In this you had Protect, you had Protect, which also does magic defense. In this you had Protect, and then you had Shell, which is the magic defense one. And then 10 levels later you learn the version 2 of Protect and Shell, and then 10 levels later you learn the level 3 version of those until you get up to Protect 4. It was numbers going up, but in a different way. It was very, very different idea. It's like on your healer class in 2.0, you learn Cure, but that one spell is going to be your bread and butter all the way through your leveling. Whilst with this one, you had 4 different levels of Cure, so the healer had a easier time of managing their hate level with a mob, because they could do big heals on the tank and do smaller heals on the melee if they get splash damage, rather than just going, this is a one size plaster, it fits all, bosh, there you go, and the DPS took a little bit, bosh, there goes the same amount of healing that I'd spent on the paladin. No, what you could do, keep the tank healed up with high heals and keep the rest of the party members sort of safe with smaller heals or regens. It was so different. You could apply strategy and coordination. There was the indications for AoE that the monsters would do, so you knew you could get out of the way of them. But they are not in it as much as what it was in 2.0. The last time that I quit Final Fantasy XIV 2.0, no, the time before last, was because of Titan Extreme. At that point in time, my internet was not as good as what it is now, so it just felt like I was playing dance moves on the game rather than it being a fight. You had to keep moving your position, and also with Titan Extreme, you have to do a tank swap about halfway through the game, and I never got on with tank swaps on my tank. I'm kind of too used to the idea of if one tank can't do it, then the tank's doing it wrong philosophy. That's how I got through that last boss on 1.23, was just by, wow, I can't believe I'm going to say this, get good. Because you had so much choice in regards to how you could set up your character in skills, and you could allocate points into specific areas to improve stats for doing specific things. And then you had the equipment. The equipment is very different. There was no eye level, obviously, but say you could get a dagger that could occasionally hit twice or 3 times, or you could get a bladed shield. Now the bladed shield is also in 2.0, also the bladed lantern shield, but the difference is if someone attacked you in this game with the bladed shield or bladed lantern shield, they would take damage if you blocked it, because it's the equivalent of having a shield with a spike on it. But yet that entire element of how the shields would work is not in 2.0, which again just feels like they're stripping out little bits and little pieces that they just thought, it's too much hassle to adjust that. We need to make it slimmer. We need to make it more standardized. Because at the end of the day, if you've got a weapon, you find a weapon that can hit 2 or 3 times, or you find a weapon that says on it, it'll increase your cure potency by 25%, so all your cures are 25% stronger. Of course, there is going to be quite a period of which that you're gonna want just that one item equipped whenever you do a cure. And that's what the new director of Final Fantasy XIV wanted to get away from, is having equips that augmented your abilities. You could get equipment that gave you abilities from other jobs on the weapon or on the armor, which was absolutely fantastic. And as you see, you know, just running around on top of the cliffs, because that's something again that you could do. They, like the zone toward the ferry, you go under, and in this zone, which is to the west, you can go up on top. And again, I have fond memories of, well, actually this was a hot spot for gatherers, people wanting, like, go near those shrubberies and those trees. Normally lots of gobs up here, but I think that's the end of this line. Yeah, pretty much at the top here. But again, you can kind of... You'd be able to see people on chocobos going to and fro, people running around in the distance, fights going off over there. It's the one sad thing about the way that I'm currently playing this is you don't get to see what it was like when the server had life. And that's sad. Don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy XIV is good for what it is. It's just, I know this one. I've been chatting with some friends about this, and I think my problem with the current version of Final Fantasy XIV is because I've spent so much time away from it. I'm afraid to use my level 50 paladin or my level 50 warrior because all the skills have changed. The rotations I'd use are there, but a lot of the abilities that I'd normally use are not. I've lost the capability of being able to pick from warrior and white mage on my paladin in regards to what abilities I have. I find it strange to think that a DPS can get bloodbath, but a tank cannot, because that was really interesting. When I was trying to explain to a friend of mine, the paladin in this version was your turtle tank. They didn't do much damage, but they could take a lot of damage. Turtle, obviously, because they was sword and shield. Warrior was a blood tank, so their abilities was designed more with the idea that yes, they are going to take damage, but they are going to have abilities that can actually let them heal and recover from these attacks that they're having. And it was a completely different mindset and philosophy. Whereas if the core of the abilities that I'd use to be able to do that are no longer on the warrior class, they're now on my monk class, which is just really bizarre, because last time I checked, monks are DPS. We're up here. Oh no, that kind of works. Get over it. Ah, that's how I do it without the wheel mouse. If I hold down left bumper and do right stick out, right stick in. God, I'm gonna have to check if in 2.0 they kept that or if they scrapped it. Now, can I get to there from here? I think so. But yeah, this location that we're coming up to is where I ended up doing some of my more higher level, I think it was sieged events for my paladin. Wow, I do jump around a lot. I mean, going back to what I was previously saying, that's the nice thing about the monk, is the monk job hasn't really changed that much over the period of time that it's been in. A lot of the abilities are still the same. The idea of doing rotations is new, because that was 2.0. But generally how it worked was the same. And from what I can understand, how it works now... Oh, too early. Is pretty much the same as when I got it to level 50. Summoner. Oh, that's drove me up the wall. As I try and drive up a wall. Summoner, I can't believe what they've done to that job. I've got a level 50 summoner, which also means I've got level 50 sorcerer, but on the trial account, started leveling summoner, and it's just... It's not one big change that they made to the class and job. It's lots of little ones that they've done over time that have just had a really big impact. I can't really speak to many of the other jobs because I only ever got on my main character. People up to the sort of level that they unlocked their jobs. That's pretty much how far I leveled them, unless I needed a specific ability in for cross-class. But yeah, there's this place. Let me guess, you're going to be another little cave with a watering hole on the right-hand side. That's my guess. Certainly looks like it. Ta-da! Wow. And like I say, this game wasn't perfect. It had problems. The servers had issues just staying online all the time. But I think they was going for a plan of what Star Citizen should have done. Is they had this big list of things that they wanted to do with the game, and they just wanted to get down the basic structure. I mean, from 1.0 to 1.21, there was no jobs in it. It was just Gladiator, Pugilist, Marauder, Thermage, and so Conjurer, and Archer. There was no Bard, there was no White Mage, no Black Mage, no Warrior, no Monk, no Dragoon, no Paladin. They all came in at 1.21. So it was kind of work in progress. They was building it up layer by layer. It's just SE, they didn't have the confidence in its long term for the long term. And when they get the other dev team in, they just looked at the engine and went, well, no, I don't really want to do anything with this. So basically, this game as it is got shelved. They worked on it for a while, kept some of the team on so they could write a story to explain, and put a meteor in the sky to destroy the world, as demonstrated there. And that's how 2.0 came about. But yes, I think that's enough of this today. I actually didn't think I'd do this entire city-state. It's been interesting. I still can't believe how many memories of this stuff I've got. Not looking forward to... because I'm probably going to do... Oh, it's not that. Current location. That doesn't work. Okay, that's good to know. Can't let you see a preview of the area that I'm to face next, which is, in my opinion, the worst designed area. I mean, this area is quite balanced. I think, all in all, they kind of did a good job. They gave a variety of locations. Oh, I didn't explore up there. So much of this place. But it is physically walking between locations. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Hope that you enjoyed it. And, yeah, hoping to make a little series of this, exploring the old world. Next up, I think, is going to be the Shroud and Gradidia. And then we'll go across the ocean and we'll have a look at there. And then, after all that, that's to the Black Shroud. I'll probably come back here and go to Mordorma through that location. That'll kind of wrap up this section as well, so I can have a little plod through there. So thanks for watching. Till next time, have a good one.